To be honest, I don't know everything about Altium. I have not been using some features in Altium because I really had no time to discover by myself what these features are about or how to use them properly. Or, maybe I'm just like super lazy. But when Altium sent me an email and they told me that their engineers would explain to me the features I was interested to learn about, I was like, why not? This could be useful and save my time. And I had a call with Michal, which I recorded. We talked about versioning, comments, releases. That's something what I really always wanted to know how it works. Plus few other things, and that is what you will see in this video. I need to say this is not an advertisement. I just use this opportunity to ask questions instead of searching all the answers on internet by myself. I really hope this video will also save your time. That's why I'm creating it. So here it is. Here is my call with Michal. We are going to talk about versioning, the correct way how we should be doing this. Yes?
Yeah, I don't know if there is a single correct way, but what we are trying to achieve, and I will show you how this looks like in particular, but what we are trying to achieve is to make sure that people who have no experience with version control, they will get all of the benefits from version control and more from connecting to 365. With the version control, we have these nice checkboxes here, as you can see on the screen. And those checkboxes are telling you what's the state. So the nice green checkbox means like everything is fine. You are looking at the latest version, like all good. And then this red circle here, it means that it is you have modified something locally. So your changes are not persisted to the server.
And everyone else who is using this project, they will also see there something?
Yes. So if you'd connect to the same project, you will see that you are like either you are up to date or out of date with this particular one.
So basically, but when you make changes locally, it doesn't mean other people will see these changes until you commit these changes, correct?
That's correct. For like there is slight we have two ways. So first of all, on the pure version control, we are not committing till you we are not sending it to server till you commit, till you save to server. But we have in our pro version, let's say, we have this capability which is called soft locking. So if you start editing, we will put a marker next to the file. Like, I don't know if you are using Google Docs, but then if somebody is looking at the same document, in the upper hand, you will have this marker that will say, like Robert is open this file. So I know that you are looking at the same file. And if you edit, I will see that you start editing. So I will understand right away that, there is something going on. I don't see your changes yet, but I know that you start editing. So this is what we call soft lock. We are proactively try to avoid conflicts in this case.
This is cool because this is not what is normally supported by version control. Version control only works after you do some work and then you kind of push it on server. But this way you basically communicate, Altium basically communicates between everyone who is using same project.
Correct. Yeah, that's the goal. Like we have this, like we would like to avoid the conflicts as much as possible in this case. So that's why this feature was introduced. So that's built on top, and that's not only.
I have another question. So can you lock this schematic? Then, like, please don't do. Basically, tell everyone else, like, please don't do any changes on this schematic page because I'm going to make these changes.
So this is what we call a hard lock, and hard locking we don't have. But if you start editing, what will happen is that if some, like I can send you it later on, but if I will start editing, first of all, you will see the marker, but secondly, if you try to edit anyways, you will get a pop-up which says like Robert, or in your case, Michal, start editing. If you continue, then you will have conflict and you will need to resolve it somehow. So we are warning proactively user. So like if you, in this case, if you would like to mark something that you will going to edit it, you can just go and edit a couple of files, and then they will be kind of locked because you start editing already.
Yeah, this is good. This is probably enough. Do you have all the icons what we can see in this panel?
Open it here. So that's the it's called collaborators visualization and conflict prevention. That's kind of the name of the document. And yeah, so we do have some of those icons here. So as I mentioned, we see if somebody make changes locally in this particular case. And here I was mentioning that if you open the same document, you will have this kind of a Google-like icon on the top, which will tell you that somebody else is either looking or editing the file.
I
so
haven't
like
seen these icons.
Interactive.
So basically, right now you see everyone who has this page open?
Yes, correct.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Okay, what are the other icons?
Oh, what are the other icons? Let me like somebody's editing right now, so we have it. If we have conflict, so you kind of even if we warn you go move into conflict, we are showing that there is a conflict. Now you need to speak with this person, and you need to kind of get
so conflict means two people edited the same schematic page, for example.
Correct.
You need to decide which of these two versions is the correct one, or maybe create like merge changes.
Or maybe you need to just copy paste portions of it and just merge it kind of manually with this particular case, or pick the one which would be working. So we have these pop-ups if you are editing or looking, and then somebody else is started to do something, then we have this option. This is the warning that I was mentioning. So conflicts and so those are really that, like somebody's looking at the file, somebody edited the file and locally, and there is a conflict. Those are kind of a major three that I prefer in this conflict prevention area.
We can go back to Altium.
Okay, so but this is this is built on top of the version control. Now let's go back to the version control itself. So the statuses, and we have these icons, and some people were wondering what the icon means. So what we try to do is that we always put right now a tooltip in the new version of Altium Designer, and when you click it, we will also give you the common cases, like what to do with in particular state, so we can save to server or revert my edits if you have this local modifications.
So you don't even need to do like commit and push, you can directly save it to server?
Yes, correct.
So that's basically commit and push.
Yes, as long as we are using Git in this particular case, yes, that's a commit and push.
I think maybe we should explain what commit and push means.
Oh, so that's exactly that's a good point. I bet that we should not in this particular case, and I will explain why. Because this is what we are trying. Like in the past, in the previous version of the Altium Designer, we have this commit and push, and people were just wondering what's that. So once again, for us, the version control should be hidden from the user. You should be able to take all of the benefits, but you don't need to understand. If you, of course, if you understand exactly what the version control works, we still have this right-click button, and then you can do all of this commit, whole project, update, and whatever. You have still access to all of that if you know how to use it, but you don't need to. So whenever you change something, like I changed the file here, one file, we right away put the save to server. So, and we are like, if I click it, it will ask me to. It should ask me. It will ask me to provide a comment for my change, but we are not putting like commit and push. It's really just save to server. Like once again, for people to move from local storage into this one,
to save it to cloud.
All its changes, they just, rather than save local, they do save to server. That's all. And they have this additional idea of being able to put comment that will describe what they intended to do with this particular change.
I like
That's
this
another
a lot.
benefit of version control.
I like this because when I was starting with this commit and pushes and pull, it gets confusing sometimes. It's okay when you do it like when there are no problems, then it's kind of okay. But
Yes.
once there are problems and you cannot push it correctly or pull or I don't know, then it gets like, oh, it doesn't work what
Yep.
I want, and this seems to be quite simple. So what if you would like to download the original version from server? Let's say you made mistake and you would like to revert the schematic back to the original.
Okay. Yeah. So another, like, it sounds a little marketish, but yeah, the next tip that we are trying to do is that you never need to go outside of the Altium Designer in order to do so. So we introduced this concept of project history, and it has a little bit more benefits I want to speak about, but this revert to is one of the common points that people were mentioning. So let's go here. So in whole project or on individual files, you can run project history. So let me just run it. It opens inside of the Altium Designer, and it gives me like a nice view of the history. So it's no longer like, if you are familiar with Git, you will get a table with modifications and stuff like that. Here we are going one step beyond that, or I hope 2 steps beyond that. But so we are getting all of the commits that were done in the project, all of the saves, with all of the information, what exactly changed in this particular, but we are not limiting it to just the files. Like Git will give you only files which change. We are extracting metadata from your commit, and we are trying to understand, compare with the previous one, and we are showing you what you really changed. So for example, let's pick this commit here. I can expand, so I see on the top level that I change 3 files and 2 nets. I remove 1 component and I add 1 component.
So Git would only tell you changed 3 files, for example. That's what
correct.
Git would tell you. But Altium also kind of goes through all these changes and will find out what exactly in the schematic or PCB was actually is actually different.
Correct. So we have a bunch of, like, we call it like automatic diff. So we are people can provide a comment, but if you can see in this particular case, I didn't provide any comment because the tool don't force me to do so. But I still, if I expand, I can understand what happens. So I added a bunch of capacitors here.
So plus means you edit these capacitors.
Yeah, so we have this color coding, and the common feedback is to add some legend here, but the color coding is, we are trying, like, plus with green is we added something, minus in red, it's like remove, and the yellow dot is that we modified something. So that's basically what we say. So yeah, so the project, you ask about how to open the older version of the schematic or the project, or how to revert. So we try to make it as simple as possible. So if I want to go to some previous version, what I can do, I just hit this, I found the commit I like, and then I can either open the snapshot. It means I will open, it is not revert, it's just opening the snapshot of this project.
So you can visually see what was in the old project. Okay.
So as you can see, we have this, yeah, the project is kind of this, it was called demo rename because I was doing some renaming of the project. And at that point, and I have timestamp when it was done. And now I can just go to end of the file and I can see the file at the time of this commit. So I have like a consistent version of the project at the time. I can copy paste, I can do, please.
Can you do this only on one specific file? Like, so you don't...
No, so I on one specific file?
Like, no, right on the one which you modified, for example, page number 1, you modified, and you would like to see how the original version looks.
No, so we are kind of doing it consistently. So we need to kind of open the whole project. We are opening whole the snapshot, whole of the project snapshot. In fact, that was one of the requests from people that they didn't want to do on individual files, like reverting and stuff like that. They would like to go to the consistent version because, like, maybe for opening snapshot, the one version would be clear. But for reverting, we would like to make sure that we can revert to the consistent version of the project rather than on the individual file level. I will speak a little bit about compare in a moment, because compare gives you, I believe, what you are asking for, that you can understand what are the really changes between two versions. But right now I am just showing you how to do this initial opening the snapshot. So similarly, we have this revert option. So if I click the revert, it will just take all of the project and it will overwrite with the version that was at that point in time. And I can review what changed and stuff like that. And then I can commit it as a new version of the project. So that's kind of you will see in the history that there is a new commit, and you will see all of the changes that were done in this new commit.
But what really if you only would like to revert one schematic page, not whole project?
So reverting one schematic page, it's kind of easy here. Like we don't have it as an explicit single action. You can do it with the old storage manager, but in using this method that I'm showing here, you can just open this version, and I can just copy paste. I can just kind of replace the file in this, and then just save it. So then it would be not like it's kind of a manual, but still you can
copy paste. You mean like you can just drag and drop the whole schematic page, or you go on the schematic page, Control A, Control C, and then Control V?
Yeah, Control A, Control C would work for sure. I don't know if I can drag and drop. I never tried, in fact. I can try, but I never did it in the past. It's just do a reference. So I believe it's just directly, it does not work. But yeah. Okay. Yep, I will need to remove it from the project later on. Okay, so I was here on the compare. So we spoke about the diff, and we spoke about the this detection of the changes, and that's like the whole idea behind the project history, is to give you a single view of what happened in the project in terms of the saves, but also we have this special milestone view here, which says that the project was released. We will speak about releases in a couple of moments, but you can see which kind of, what the revisions of the data were created at that particular point in time, who did it,
Can you do this also like project stages, like for example, schematic checked or something like this?
Like we do not have tagging, if you are asking for tagging, so we don't have that right now. But you can create a project release, and you can name it like that schematic complete at that particular point, and you are generating only like schematic related items like PDFs and stuff like that. That's possible. That you can do that. Yes.
I would like to go back to the one page change. I think in the somewhere in the go to panels.
Yep.
Is it in Storage Manager?
Yeah, in Storage Manager. Then in Storage Manager you could do it file by file, and that was one of the core requests against the Storage Manager, is to be able to make to make consistent revert.
I would like to just include it in this video so people can see that they can actually revert also only one schematic page. Yeah, so this is the schematic page number 1, and here are all the revisions. So you can basically compare only this one page between different revisions, and you can revert only this one page, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I need to go to combine view and do it. So revert I can kind of revert to a particular one. Yep.
Or I think if you select 2 of them, then you can compare them.
Yeah, this is like I will speak about compare in a couple of moments, but yeah, you can compare the 2 revisions, and you can do things like that. Yep. Okay, so let me go back to the history. In addition to I just wanted to show one thing. So once again, there is this additional intelligence here that came from the fact that we do have this automatic diff. We include also this search feature. So one of the use cases that we get from customers was that if I know that somebody touched this C4, how I can understand what really happened. So if I just search for the C4, what happens is it will filter the history, and it will show me exactly in which particular commits and who modified the C4. So I see that it was placed here, it was modified here, so it was.
This is cool.
replaced, and then in this case, somebody remove it. I don't know how we can twice remove it, so I need to double check this stuff. But anyways, like in this particular case, I can search through all the history and understand what happened in terms of particular component or particular net.
And can you see, for example, on what page the changes were made? For example,
Yeah,
you can
so
see
let's
the
do the
resistor
same.
was...
Yeah. So sure, let's go to C4 once again. And then we understand, like, we don't know exactly where it was placed. It was
one of these two
because we
pages.
see that, we see that those two pages were modified.
But that's the second one is project PCB, so I guess it's the first
Yes,
file.
yes, you are right. You're right. Yes. Okay, so that's kind of at the core of the history, and yeah, we are doing some still some improvements here.
This can be also useful for project managers or team leaders, correct? Because
yes, correct. So that I will not name the customer, but one of the feedback that we get from our beta customer who was working with the new in-job employee, that he was saying that thanks to that they understood that these guys were doing something wrong, because they should do some small change and they tweak like half of the project. So then they were able to quickly identify it, because they just look at the history and understood that there is tons of changes where they should not be changes at all in this particular place.
So basically every day team leaders can see what kind of changes or work the engineers did.
Yes, correct. And we do have some notifications on that. But one of the items I wanted to show here is that I will do this show in web browser. So what I can do is, this is how usually managers can look at that. If they don't have access to Altium Designer and Altium Design license or whatever, they still can be given access to the project. So there is strict sharing permissions applied, but they have similar view, read-only view to the data in the web.
I think
so they can
and this is, I think, free if you have the 365 license, correct?
Yeah, so the 365 comes with the subscription for it, and then you can add users to that. But once again, it's not like open for anybody. You need to, I have this sharing permissions and I need to give somebody permission to access. If I give people permission to access, only then they can see it.
But what I meant, for example, a company may have one Altium Designer license, but this kind of view from browser, I think it can be used by more people, not only one person.
Correct. So yeah, it's more people can be invited into the space.
This kind of browser view is kind of free for everyone who...
Yes, it does not require
active
license of the Altium Designer. Yes, correct. And that's pretty common. Like, people are opening up the view for software engineers as well, because software engineers can easily get here and just get the schematics, managers, and
feedback. We use it a lot for feedback, like because software engineers, they know exactly where they would like to have, I don't know, some peripherals mapped, or they know what was problem last time when they were doing software for last project. So they would like to eliminate this kind of problem, so they suggest some hardware changes very often.
Yeah, so we have that's pretty common feedback from customers, that they are opening it up exactly this web view for commenting and being able to have a direct view, because as you mentioned, this manager case, so they can understand what changed because they see who did what in the project, but they can also have this direct view of the current version of the project, kind of in full. They can kind of investigate all of that in the details as well.
So how does it look with commenting? I know you didn't want to cover commenting, but I think you can you?
Yeah, of course I can. I have couple of items to show, but yeah, we can speak a little bit about commenting.
Okay, because I used commenting like maybe 2 years ago, so I would like to see what's new. Like, for example, I was really missing comments for myself. When I wanted to make a comment just for myself, don't forget something, I couldn't do it. Is it now implemented? Can you do like private comments?
Yeah, sure. Private. Okay, so we don't have private comments.
No.
But no, like private in means like not visible to others. But I will show you some other stuff that we did. So let's just put comment, and let's say that I can either comment on an area, I can comment on a particular item. Yeah, let me just comment on some area. So I will just comment here. And what I can do is I can just, so I can put, yeah, let's go through comment all stuff. So I can, first of all, I can just draw some stuff. So I can not only comment like textually, but I can do a graphical comment as well. And I can kind of mention somebody. So in this particular case, I will just mention myself. And with the Pro, we have this additional option that you can assign a task to yourself. So let me just check it. And I will post it. So right now, this comment is in fact associated with task, and it's assigned to me. So what I can do is we have this new feature. It's called tasks here. If I go to tasks, I don't know if you are familiar with this Kanban approach to the development.
I haven't seen this.
Okay, so this is a dashboard which shows all of the tasks, and I can filter by task if they are assigned to a particular person. I can filter them out. So I can, in this particular case, it's not really like, yeah, I would need to do a couple of more tasks. But if you would like to separate stuff that you should do and somebody else should do, and just don't look at the mess of, you know, a lot of tasks going on at the same time, you can use this approach and you can just filter stuff and just see things which are important for you.
Can you assign a task to a group?
Right now, we do not have task assignment to the group. No.
Okay, and you always see all the tasks in the list if you want, so there are no private tasks.
Right now, there are no private tasks. I can decide that I would like to see all tasks or only my tasks that I'm involved in. So like I can filter them out, but it's we do not have like access right on that. If you have access to the project, you have access to comments that were put on top of the project. Yes, correct.
Okay, we can go back to the revision.
History.
History, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to show one more item here with the history, and that's, we are kind of here in beta. We are kind of moving forward slowly in this area. But this is compare capability. So in addition to, as you mentioned before, just looking at the particular version, what I can do is I can pick two versions and decide to compare them. Yeah, maybe this one. Okay, so at any point in time, I can also compare. And here the compare, what that we are trying to achieve is logical compare. So we are not going and just highlighting you all of the differences. If you move component like 5 millimeters or whatever, we are not on the schematic, of course. We are not treating it as a modification. We are treating modification if you change something, if you place new component, if you remove a net, if you change the connectivity, then we are highlighting this. So in this particular case, we see that there are two components. So there is like a differences on the left-hand side, and we see that there are two components which were added, and then we see that there is a net connectivity change. And so yeah, this we are highlighting where the connections were removed, and this connection that was removed is kind of highlighted with red. So we can kind of it may be not an impressive case, but just going here, we are trying to make sure that whenever you are looking at the differences if you run the compare, you can understand what really changed rather than all of the noise of just this small changes,
I remember
graphical
this
changes.
because I know I had to compare some schematics before, and I know there are, I think, two options. Like one is like really compare what is drawn like on the page,
graphical,
and the other one is like kind of component and net based comparison. But if you always wanted to be sure, you had to go through this like graphical comparison, and it was like a lot of work. And
so that's exactly what we are trying to remove here. It's like to have this comparison, which is just focusing on the.
Can you see, or can you compare these two schematics? Can you see both versions, like
side by side?
Yeah, or for example, if I would like to see the current version, where would I click?
No, so that's like one of the common feedback. Right now, we do not have way to switch to the old and new one that we are comparing. We are showing just the compare view, but it's pretty common request from people who are using compare. So we are considering to look into that to implement.
And if you
we have something like that for the
three-power schematic doc, what will open?
Right now, it's just like the name of the current schematic that is being shown here. So in order to see the current version, once again, you can go into the design and see it here. So that's available. Okay. So the compare is like we are once again working on right now on the PCB compare, and we also have Gerber compare that I will be showing in context of the releases soon. That's kind of where we are. Okay, so maybe we can go to the releases now.
Okay,
is that fine?
I'm curious.
Okay, so let's go there. I will first show you some of the benefits, and then I will show you how to get there. Okay.
Yeah, okay. First, maybe let's say why we would like to use it and what it can do.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And then that's exactly what I wanted to show you. So once again, let's use this web UI here for that. So we have this special node here, releases. So release in Altium terms here, it's a milestone in a project with a specific revision. So you can define this revision naming schemes that you see here. I am using like A.4 and B.3 and stuff like that. So I can define the naming that I would like to use. And this naming I can back annotate on top of my output. So I can make sure that anyone who is looking at the design, they will understand that this is this particular revision of the design.
So it's like version 1, issue 1, or something like this, yeah? Version 1.0. So,
yes, like some people are using this letter dot number for minor changes, the number, for major changes, the letter, and like different people are using different. Those are kind of our default. Our default is like two level. So I can define the milestones in the design, and those milestones, once again, they can have a particular name, and I am able to generate a number of outputs. So it's kind of ready to be shipped into the manufacturing. And I can use it, first of all, to review a particular revision, to put this milestone in an explicit way, to have this versioning on top of it, and also to do this reviewing. So one capability that we have that I wanted to show is that all of the files which were generated, as you can see, I built kind of a couple of packages. I will speak about how to define them in a few moments, but I defined the fabrication package and PCBA package. So if I go into fabrication package, I see that there is like a Gerber, an NC drill, and fabrication PDF document.
In this release procedure, you kind of set up what kind of files you would like to generate, and every time you go through this release procedure, you can assign new version number to this, and then all these files will be stored separately, so you can go always back to one of the releases which you ever done.
Correct. That's correct. And on top of that, and I don't know how deep we want to go here, but on top of that, we have in the Pro version, we have life cycles on top of it. So we can define that this particular version is your production version, and this is obsolete or abandoned version. I will kind of show it in a couple of moments. But with the 365, you can see all of those releases. So you not only have history of all of these individual commits, but you may have like number of commits and only some milestones should be kind of placed explicitly. So this is the releases. And once again, you have access to kind of ability to download. And so if I would like to download gerbers, which were generated in this revision, I can just click it and it will download me the gerbers. But I can do more here. So I can open. If I hit open, this particular release will be open for me.
And you are doing everything in browser, yeah?
Yeah, right now, yes. Right now it's like in the full in browser. So
can you do this also in Altium software itself? I think it's, but it may not be necessary because this is like super easy, I think.
Yep. It's easy, but we wanted also to make sure that if somebody is in Altium Designer, they don't need to go for everything to web. Yeah, so for some stuff, we will redirect you to the web, but then you can still trigger the action from Altium Design, and I will show you how to do it. So here, once again, if I open a particular release, I will understand, which revision is that. I have some metadata which we're extracting. I have some previews, like, on the stuff which were on this particular release. And on top of that, I can open this particular view. So if I go here, I will have explicit set of, like, I will see exactly the version of the design at that point in time.
I really wish we had this in company where I used to work, because if you wanted to check like all the revision, you had to go somewhere in folders, find the files, and then it was like, it was not so easy like this.
Yeah, so we tried to do it like in centralized way. And here, like, just going a little, so all of the outputs, all of the source data is available here. So we have schematic PCB, 3D draftsman documentation, and BOM here. And kind of you can look. You can also comment here. And if you comment something on a particular release, we will annotate your comment that it goes from this particular release.
So you can, for example, say there is mistake in this net and we need to fix it?
Yes, correct.
Wow.
And then it will be annotated that it was like that was found on the revision, like, I don't know, I am right now in this B2 or whatever revision. It will be annotated that it comes from that revision. You can, in the comment, you'll be able to click and go back into this particular place and understand the context.
So if you make a comment in this specific revision, will this comment also appear in the latest project?
Let's do that. Yes. So I will place a comment here. Maybe I will put it in a different place because I already placed it there. So let's put it here. So I'll put test from release.
Say there, this needs to be fixed.
This needs to be fixed. This needs to be fixed. That's fine. Okay, this needs to be fixed. Okay, so I did put a comment. So it's like all of the commenting is available here. But then if I switch to my design, the current work in progress version. I see this comment here, and then it's annotated that it's coming from this revision, and I can go there and open it, stuff like that. So that's possible. So if you would be right now, I don't have different version of it, but if I would like to understand how this looked like at this particular point in time, I can open, but I can also see this design snapshot. So what it does is like a print screen of this version. I can just open and I understand how it looked like when I was placing the comment. The board looks like that. So it's kind of useful if the case that you mentioned, that you would like to
fix something. So here you need to do some changes.
How it looks then and how it looks now. Yes, correct. Okay. So releases, I believe that we kind of speak a little bit on the value of this release. Once again, this is the repository of all of the files. It's here, so you can see those files. We are kind of generating some of the previews on the fly. for some of those, so we can like go and see PDFs right away and stuff like that. You don't even need to download. You can still download, but you don't need to do it. And yeah, that's the release page, let's say. So let's go to Altium Designer. Okay, so let's go here with this with the releases.
Okay, so how do we do the releases?
Yes, I will just save this server because I don't want to keep this open. Release requires that you have everything checked in, because we would like to have like repeatable release. So I will just like small changes. Okay, that's fine.
So everything has to be green when you are going to do release.
Yeah, it will just check it and it will tell you that it will just allow you to save at the time of the release. So on the release side, you need to have output jobs defined, and I do have output jobs defined. I like by default we are providing assembly and fabrication output job, and they and we have in addition sources.
So you don't only have like one job file for everything. You have job file for each kind of block of documents which you would like to generate together.
Yep, correct. And what so the project releaser is available from this menu. I can just run it. So what it has, let me just let's wait for it to open. So what it has this sections explicitly here. So I have this source data. Source data is just a snapshot of the sources. We are doing those snapshots to make sure that you know, you can always regenerate exactly this version of outputs if you need. Like if there will be a bug in a particular version of Altium Designer and you need to regenerate something from exactly this version, you can always do it. You can always generate additional outputs from exactly this version. That's why we are keeping the like sources as well. So this release tells. So whenever we are doing a release, we are also taking the snapshot of the sources. Like all of the project, we are snapshotting it at that point in time, and we are putting.
So you kind of freeze all the documents or files which are inside of the project.
Correct. We are freezing it, and then at any point in time in future, you can go back to that. So we spoke about benefit of version control and stuff like that. That's like a similar thing. We are kind of tagging it, freezing it at this point in time, and you have access to this snapshot of your sources at that particular point in time.
Target revision is it is nothing with variants, with nothing. Yeah, target revision is just a name, or what is it?
Yes. So when we are doing a release, we are generating a couple of packages. So if I go back to the web UI, let me just go back there pretty quick. So as you can see, I have a bunch of packages here, and each of those packages has the number, like the revision number. So those are the like this whole thing is a package, and it's like what we call a target revision. So when you're releasing something, you are releasing something to this package.
So it is like project name and then the revision number or revision.
Yes, so you can configure it in the configuration by default is that. Yes, correct.
Okay, so if we go back to Altium.
Yep.
So what do you select there? I still don't understand. Can you click there? What is there?
Oh, so you have just a let's do that. So I have a control to say I would like my next revision to not be B.4, but I am already good, and I want to make it C.1. So then it will be C.1.
So these are just a control of. It's nothing. It's just a name.
So that's a name and the revision. So I am at that point when I am releasing a project. If I'm generating a new release of a project.
Okay, so this is the name of the block.
Yes,
where
that's
all the files
name of the
will
package
be located.
And the revision of the package.
Okay,
yes.
I understand now. So it's like name your target revision, or target revision name, or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Target revision name and.
Okay. Finally, I understand.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Sorry. Okay, and what you have in addition, so if you have variants in your design, I have 3 variants here, like no variation and 2 variants. I can also generate a separate package for each of the variants. So I can have a different bomb here and different bomb here, and they will be different by just the name. Like here is no variations, it's variant, but that's kind of fine. So how to configure it? if I click on the details, I will understand what's inside.
Mm-hmm.
And that's based on the output job definition. So if I hit configure, it will just goes to the output job definition, and I can tweak this.
Mm-hmm. So you
And
assign this output with specific output job file.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So that's part of the configuration of the project releaser. How to that they are matched, and I can add some new stuff if I want. We have like BOM compare output. You can define it, and then it will generate additional file. So each time I will do release, this set of outputs will be generated, everything defined in the output job, and I can add some stuff and kind of commit it. And that will be my new definition of which data I will output into the release.
So okay. Theoretically, you can have like schematic checked release. You would only include schematic there basically, and you would name it schematic checked.
Yes, but it's so correct. But you will do it by name, and then I will not release fabrication. Maybe I will just release assembly with some drawings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you may need to tweak things in order to get what you want, but yeah, you could do potentially a milestone.
I understand. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So this is just, and I can at any point in the releaser I can define which data to generate. So I can specify if I want fabrication data to be generated or not, or just maybe assembly. So this case that I just changed BOM, I can keep the old fabrication and just release the new assembly with the new BOM.
And if you click on configure, then it went to the specific job file. Yeah, the configure is always the same for all the files which are.
Yeah. So this if I you see this is called assembly output job.
Mm-hmm.
The other one fabrication. Mm-hmm. So if I click on this one, it goes to the assembly. If I click on this one, it goes to the fabrication.
Yeah, but in same container, the configure is same link.
Correct. Yes, we have one output job per container.
Okay.
In single output, in single package, you goes to a single. So this fabrication goes to fabrication, this assembly goes to assembly output job. So we separate by that. So you can specify that some data should be included here and some data should be included there. So this is my definition.
I have a question. So for variant, how does it work for variant?
So for variant, if I would have a BOM output, so if I include this one, it will create a separate package and it will generate all of the output specific to this variant.
Where do you specify for what variant the output is used?
Those one. So this is the releaser automatically check your project and lists all of the variants. So if I add variant,
I understand.
It will add new line here. So it will, and I can then decide if I want to include it or not.
Okay, I understand.
So it's okay. Okay, so let's move.
So what everything? So there is only source data, fabrication, assembly, and then you can add more. Add section, I see.
Yeah, so you can get like some documentation section, stuff like that. But then you need to specify the output job and things like that. So you can extend.
Okay.
By default, we are doing fabrication and assembly for each of the variants, and then you can add some additional items here.
Okay. So gerbers, assembly files, and then drawings.
Yep. So all of everything that is possible in the output jobs, you can define.
Okay.
Now I hit prepare. So we have this option to even before we release stuff. Yeah, so I modify project file because I was tweaking here, and it tells me that I need to save everything. So let me just save it. I will tell this that it's output job definition. And as you can see, not in all places we changed to save to server. It's still commit and push. It's a bug, I guess. Okay, so I save it, and right now it goes into this
next step.
Prepare,
validate project.
Prepare. Yeah. So it goes through this workflow. It validates projects. Okay, like everything is up to date, and now it starts to generate everything which is defined in the output jobs.
I'm going to stop you. So validate project, what does it do? Because sometimes I'm worried, like, is it going to refresh all the polygons, or is it going to run ERC check, DRC check, or what is included in this?
No, so validate is like in this particular case, it's basic checks on if everything is checked in, as an example. And in terms of the DRC, ERC, you can specify those as in the output jobs that you would like to run DRC, you would like to run ERC, and then you can specify that if the DRC fail, then everything should fail. Like you cannot do release if the DRC is not properly kind of done. So you can control, like have some automation there that will prevent you from releasing something if not all of the checks are being done. But by default, we are not running those. You need to specify which one you want to run.
Okay. And what about this refreshing the polygons? Is it happening like automatically or?
No. So but we have additional kind of check. If you are generating some outputs on the PCB and you didn't report the polygons, it will tell you that your polygons are not reported. You can cancel or kind of move forward. So that's your decision. We will check it only when you are generating specific output.
So you would, there will be pop-up window or something?
Yeah, I did that in this
procedure.
Yes, that will tell you that something is reporting.
Because I have like whole list of what to do when something is released, and I never knew what exactly Altium is doing in background. I had no idea if, for example, Altium is checking these polygons or if it's refreshing them or...
No, by default, we are not changing because the release process should not change your sources. Like we call them sources. So your PCB file should not be changed because you release it. And if we report the polygons, it will be a change. You need to save the file. So we are not doing this automatic kind of changes that would impact your design.
That's interesting to know. Okay.
So this is like this prepare step. Right now we give user option to review the output. So I can click view and I will see the PDFs or whatever. And recently, as I said, we are investing in this Gerber, in the compare. So we also include this compare Gerber. So that's a place where we, during the release, you can make sure that only intended changes, let's say, in the Gerber are done. So
I've done this couple of times. Yeah. When we were doing like real new version of an old board and we wanted to be sure no one ever touched like memory design or something, we had to compare the Gerber files and see the changes were only made in specific place.
So here you can see that this is, once again, I did not release yet. And here I have this Gerber, compare Gerber option automatically. We have implemented in the web. So as I mentioned, we just redirect to the web, and it takes a little while, but we have this Gerber comparison, and I kind of prepared it a little bit. You mentioned that you would like to understand this versioning and stuff like that. So I put in this PCB, what I did is I put this auto numbering on top of the PCB as a string, and it shows me the differences between those two. So I can, for Gerbers, we did implement this side by side. So I can see that in the version B3, that was B3. In the current version, which is not yet released, is already C1. And then the compare is showing me kind of an overlay of what happened. And there are no other changes here, so it's not really like.
But you would see them in the tracks, for example, if they're.
Yeah, and by the way, I believe that it may be a good time to show it. Let's say that I have like a nicer project prepared. So let me just open it and I can show you exactly how this would look like for the real project with the real changes. Just a sec. Okay, so I have some board here prepared for that. And so I can do it after the fact. So here I have two releases for the board. One is obsolete, one is approved, and I can understand what are the differences. I can just say I would like to compare those two. And what it does, it really do this layer by layer comparison. It is a pretty big board, so it will render a while, but. in the end, it shows, so we are going through all of the layers, and in all of the layers, we are trying to identify the areas which change, because it's like the number of pixels which change on the gerbers is huge, but we are gathering them in the areas. So as you can see, we stated that here on this one layer, the number, we have this 1 to 6, and you can go through each of those and you can understand which one, what changes are being done in the particular place. I can go to a different layer. Let's just go to this one and understand that in this particular one, those are the changes. So I can zoom in. And now if I go into fabrication 1 and 2, I will see exactly the versions of the gerbers in the 1 and 2. So as you mentioned, that's a way for us to make sure that if you release something, that you only intended changes are really there.
Because this is otherwise very time consuming, especially, for example, if you ask a junior engineer to do some small changes on big and very complex board, you really would like to be sure he or she didn't touch anything else. So this can be like super useful.
Yep. Well, we hope that was really our intention. Okay. Sorry, so let me just go back to the Altium Designer. Yes?
You could show the second version, how it...
Oh, okay. So if I go to the fabrication 1, once again, it's kind of it's render. So that's the version here, fabrication 2, version 2.
Okay, so there were no vias.
There are changes. Yeah, so you can see this, and we are keeping the zoom in and stuff like that, so you can exactly see them side by side.
Yeah.
And that's what people are asking for, schematic compare as well, but we don't have it there yet. That's the point. Okay, so that's Gerber compare on the release, and we break at this stage that we are reviewing stuff. So now I can make a release. So what happened now? I can put a note. So it's like I would call it demo release. Let's just run it. And now we are uploading all of this data which were generated together with sources. We are putting it into the server, and we are annotating them with the C1 and stuff like that. So all of that is being kept.
What if you interrupt this process of releasing? Can you go back to this or?
Yeah, sure. So till it's done, then the items are not kind of created. So they are, I can just stop. Like on the previous step, I can say, no, it's not what I wanted. I can stop it. I can fix the stuff and then release to exactly the same revisions.
Even right now, you can still kind of release.
Right now, it's too late. Right now, I release it. So right now, and that's a good case. Let's see what we can do. So I release it, and let me just go here. We have this set of releases for this project. And as you can see, this demo release is here. So we have a new release done. And exactly this case, you can just think, okay, I did something wrong. This one is wrong. Nobody should use it. What I can do is I can change the life cycle. And I can say, okay, this one is really wrong. I will mark all of that red, abandoned.
But you can't delete it.
What will happen? You can. There is a way to delete, but it's like it's not primary action, so we aren't showing it here. But we have this option to show hidden releases. So by default, it's off, so you will not see it. But yeah, if somebody wants them, they can see. So usually people have just one active release, maybe two. But that's kind of a way how you can do it. You can mark, you can define the life cycle as you want, and you can define that this one is, prototype, and this one is production, and those are not to be used anymore. Those are abandoned.
Or different versions, and the old versions you never produce new older versions, for example.
Yep, and you can compare. You can still have access to all of the data, as I shown before. I can open.
Yeah, I remember once I released a board when I was starting with hardware design, and I was like very inexperienced. So I sent one version of the board to production, and when it was being manufactured, I started making more and more changes on the version of what I sent to production. And then when I received the boards, I didn't have the original data because I modified the
Yep.
the project already, and yeah, so I learned the lesson. always,
Yeah, and then
always freeze all the files which you send to production.
yep, and the other way, like one of the common cases is that also always annotate the outputs with the revision, because then if somebody, people may just extract some BOM or whatever from your file, and then you'll never knew what you are looking at. And now with these revisions, you can kind of understand.
Yeah.
Yep. So so we have this dedicated release view, but as I mentioned, in the history, that's like just a shortcut also from the Altium Designer. You see these milestones also. I guess this one is not refreshed. Yeah, we have also these milestones, and you can understand which data were generated and who did it when. And once again, I can compare stuff like that from the history. So I understand which check-ins lead to this revision, who did the last changes, and also pretty interesting, this case that you mentioned, like if you release this board and then somebody else is doing changes after that, then you know that what you are looking in Altium Designer is not what was sent to manufacturer. You have made some changes, and now you can understand which changes are made.
This is really useful. Is this working also if you are not using Altium 365?
So project history is unique for the 365.
But project release will work.
Project release will work, yes. Project release works in case you are not connected. Let me just show you that. In case you are not connected, let me just run project releaser again. What we are offering in this case, there is target for the release in the options of the project releaser. I can pick that this is a zip. And I can, in this case, in the output path, I will get output of the data. So you will get some of the benefits, like single button release, always consistent based on the output jobs and stuff like that, but not all of this revisioning and storing it on the server and having access to the revisions, compare and stuff like that. This part you will not have.
Good. Can we go back to the web view of the releases? Because there was this big open button and there was an arrow. I would like to see what is, exactly, what is there.
Okay, yeah. So in the arrow, if you have, in case you have multiple variants, what you can do is you can say, I would like to see only this variant. So let me open this. In this case, it's like the same because I just released one variant. But if I go to this design snapshot, what I can see here is that this is a snapshot of the sources, our web view of the snapshot, and I release no variations version, and then I even cannot click to these other ones. We are saying single variant view selected. So we are just showing you exactly what was released to avoid any mistakes.
Okay, and so if you have different variants in the releases, then in show files you would see different variants?
Yes, correct. So it will be like another package here, which will be called PCBA, KMFMU, and then
so like there would be, for example, 3 different assembly files.
Correct. And then
or
I can go containers. And I can pick exactly this data which were generated for a particular variant.
Cool. This is cool. And if you would like to save this on your local computer, then you just need to download them one by one. Okay.
Yeah, I can just I can click all of those. In fact, I have this full release download here. I can just click it and it will download. It will show me, ask me what I want to download, and I can just pick whatever I want.
Nice. I like it.
One last item here, and it's if we are also playing with this ability to share it further. So once again,
to manufacture, for example.
Yeah. So once again, right now, if this is inside of your space, you have full control who will have access. You can invite other people, you can share the project to them, and you can tell if they have rights to view, edit, download, or just view without downloading. they will be able to comment and stuff like that. So that's possible. And if you would like to send this version to somebody, and they should just see this version and they don't, and right now what you would do usually, it's like you download it and you put it in the email. But here we have this other option that using the infrastructure, you can define which data to put into this send to manufacturer option. I can remove some stuff or pick.
So to PCB company, you only can send, for example, Gerber files.
Yep, and by default, we are not selecting sources. So by default, we are not sending sources. You can if you like, but by default it's disabled.
Yeah, because
and then I can specify to whom I should send it. I will just use my personal email. And that's like
wait. I would like to see first what is there. So there are only 2 cards because there are 3 cards in our list. Or what are these cards?
So I can include sources. And then I will have
I understand. So sources.
But by default I am saying I will not send sources.
Can you select okay, so the job file has to be created specifically for specific manufacturer. Job file just for PCB manufacturer, which includes only Gerbers. Job file for assembly house, which will include the assemblies and drawings.
Right now we do not have a way to select which files from
inside,
the package to
you
send.
need to select the whole.
So you are sending all, yes.
Okay.
As defined.
Okay.
And then I can just send. So I put an email of where to send it, and this person will get a notification in the email saying, okay, somebody shared the package with you, and they will get a link. And when they access this link, I will. So we are kind of transferring some data here. I will tell you I will show you what they will see.
But this can be also kind of dangerous. Like if someone by mistake they say whole project.
But let's compare it if somebody by mistake sent an email, like that's similar.
But this is like super easy,
Sending email is easy as well. I'm not like I'm paying devil's advocate here, but it's.
Can you see who sent the files out and what files they sent?
So I just sent one of this here.
Okay.
So I see all of the stuff which will send from here, and I can open it. So I can download, share. Like if I hit share, I see that it was shared with this person. I can remove. If I make a mistake, I click, and they no longer have access. With email,
okay, so you don't physically send the files; you only give them access.
You send the link. Yes, you send the link. If you make the link to the files, I will show you what they will see. But if you make a mistake, you can remove. With email, you cannot do it. You cannot remove access because you already sent the email.
Okay, so this is good. So you can always see if someone would like to share it, then you will see every links. If you delete the links, share, copy, all these reports, they are going to stay here. You can't remove them.
They are here. They are here. You have also option that you allow sharing further. So if you would like to make sure that if I share to you, that you will not share to anyone else directly this link, I can just untick it. And this person with whom I shared, they will not be able to share it further.
How is it possible?
I also can. I will show you. So also I can also prevent them from downloading files. They will only be able to see this data in web, but they will not be able to download it.
But you couldn't do this. Could you do this when you were sending the message?
That's a good point. I couldn't. That's a good point. Yeah, you had good eye. I couldn't do it at that point, and that's like I guess UX mistake. Okay. Let's open. So if this person will get an email, what they can see is this view.
So you can even check what the link will show?
Yes, exactly. So this is what this other person will see there is an email, they will get an email, they click the link and they get here. Of course, I did allow them to download stuff. So at that point, I will, like if they go to this, we have this preview here. But if they go here, they can download. Once they download, I cannot do anything with that. It's like if I send email. But I can at least control what can be done in this particular area. And yeah, we also have some options like they also can comment. So these comments can also be put on the
So PCB
package,
manufacturer can
sent.
tell you like, don't do this, fix this.
Yeah, they can tell you, yes, exactly. Or they can say that they need to change something because of the whatever reasons, and then you can apply it in your design and then resend them the new version with the proper.
But what is your
dataset.
experience? Are PCB manufacturers, for example, or assembly houses going to use this?
So it's mixed right now, to be frank. So we do have people who are kind of evangelists of this approach, and they were telling, like I am doing the success story at the beginning, of course, but they are telling us that they shared with the manufacturers that they have good relations with, and right now people are saying, never send me the zip file or email, just always kind of put them here. And they, in the end, they have so good relations that they even invite people into their space, so they have access to all of this data and they can kind of collaborate a little bit more. With some others, we have this situation that people are so get used to this particular way of working, and they have their own processes already in place. Then they are saying, no, it's like it's learning curve that we need to, we will just not do it. So we have both. And yeah, but the tools are there, and if you push your manufacturer, then maybe they will adopt.
Okay. You wanted to show me like how is it possible that they can resend the link, for example? What if they just copy the link from the email and send it to someone else?
So you can try it. I can, like, if you type in this link, it will tell you have no access.
Okay.
So just so everything in 365 is access based. If you are not listed here, you will not be able to access.
So, but this person has to be included in your workspace.
No. That's so. This is explicit for that reason. You don't need to include anyone into your workspace.
You can send it to any email.
Yes, I can send it right now to you. You will be able to click the link, go into 365. You'll need to log in because we need to authorize you. But once you're authorized, you go inside and you see only this package.
So everyone who is using this has to be kind of registered in the system.
Yes, correct. So
yeah, I understand now.
We need to have some access control on top of that. This what I mean here is they cannot share. It means that this option to invite somebody else will be disabled. So they will not be able to add anyone here.
Yeah, I understand.
They can send the link, of course, but this link is meaningless.
Yeah, it will not work because they would need to use their credentials to log in.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Anything else?
Like, yeah, there is more, and we didn't go into the details of tasks and stuff like that. There is more to investigate. But
okay, show me the task again. I'm just curious.
I can, yes, sure. So the tasks, one item I didn't show maybe, is that we have this kind of a statuses of the tasks, and I can say, okay, I am working on it, so it's in progress, and then the status would be moved. I can add some additional information here, so I can say, okay, it's a highest priority. So we have some basic. We are not trying to replace any task tracking system, but we are trying to give this like a basic version of the tasks which are in context. So you always, that's kind of our biggest value, I believe. You can associate your comment and your task to a particular piece of the design, and you can then validate in context of that design. So that's like this is our key benefit. And on top of that, we have this basic stuff, like I can say, okay, I finish it, and then this task is resolved. And then if I go to the comments, I can filter out the ones which are resolved and the ones which are not resolved.
But you don't have to assign the task to anyone, and you still can use all these, correct?
So in fact, task itself, I can, if I create this task, I am the default assignee if I create the task.
So we always create them for yourself.
Yeah, I create by default. I create this one. I create for myself. I can still, but I am not hiding it from anyone else. The other people who have access to this project, once again, they need to have access to the project. Only then they see the tasks. So you can control who will, like I click this share button. If I include you here, you will have access to the project, and you will be able to comment and stuff like that.
Is this included in history?
Tasks. No, tasks are not included in history. History is targeted for things which are affecting the data themselves.
So basically, you would see them anyway because you would see the changes which are in the project.
Yes, and we also have a way. So I have a task here, and this task has some ID. I can show it in the design. So this task has some ID, and if I am fixing the task, I can use this ID in my commit comment, and then it will link it.
Okay, I understand.
And then inside of the history, I will see that they are linked. So I kind of fixed this task in context of this commit, and I can see all of that stuff. Yeah. And once again, there is much more here, and I believe that we may have different sessions to just cover it. If there is a copy link, I can send you the link directly to this task or comment, and when you click it, you will go right away into the context. You don't need to search. Like people are right now, based on the discussion we have, like they are doing this like screenshots and put it in the email and stuff like that. Yeah, so this is like a kind of we are targeting to replace it because we are always in context. We are always in, you understand the context rather than need to find and search for some stuff.
I know a friend of mine, he's always doing these screenshots because he is tracking the emails then, like based on the emails, he knows what was done and what wasn't. That's why he's always doing the screenshots.
Yeah, but here we are kind of automating some of it. You have this dashboard, you can understand what's in progress, what's done.
What is in
you cannot
assembly?
hide stuff for them. Sorry? That's a beta, yeah. That's a beta feature.
Tasks are also beta. So what is in assembly?
This is a slight difference. So tasks is the open beta, so it's available for everybody who have 365 and they are on Pro. Task is a Pro feature. Assembly is a closed beta. Secret. I can give you a short.
No, you don't need to. For that. If it's secret.
No, it's not secret. It's just closed beta right now. We are kind of moving it through the beta. It's just a helper for manual assembly. So if I go through that, it will just go through all of the board and it will highlight me where I should place parts. So that's kind of what it is.
And that's everything for this video. I would like to say thank you very much to Michal for finding time to answer all my questions. Thank you, Michal. And if you have any questions about Altium, leave them in the comments. Also, in the comments, let me know if you would like to see more videos like this. Leave ideas for the topics you would like to learn more about, okay? If you like this video, don't forget to press the like button. If you would like to see my future videos, don't forget to subscribe. It helps a lot. I mean, if you subscribe, it really helps a lot. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye.